Mr. President, what would you say to Americans who fear that this is more and more concentration of power in the White House and the executive?
Well, this really brings back the Constitution. This is what it's all about, and this is really the opposite of that. I mean, the question is fine, but it's the opposite. The Constitution has been brought back.
Can you see me? Can you hear me? And do you all understand what President Trump has just said? The Constitution is the solution. America takes back America constitutionally. What have I been telling you? So he's now openly saying it, just as he did at the G7 summit when he was asked a question in 2017 or 2018. Who is your greatest partner in trade? Is it the European Union or is it the British? And he said, let's talk about England. No one talks about England anymore. So I just want to make sure everyone understands that what I've been saying to people is absolutely true and correct. He's just told you there. So I'll wait till we get to 8 o'clock. I will ask everyone to give me a 5p5 to say that you can see and hear me. Right? I've seen a few of them coming in already. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to hit the like button. Currently, I am early. There's 60 people in total in all platforms currently watching. We go live in 5 minutes' time, officially, but I'm here early. Is Captain Tim in the audience? Captain Tim, are you out there? So just to make sure everyone's clear on this, I'm going to come back to that because I'm going to show it again in a couple of minutes. Stop sharing. So I'm off to see Captain Tim tomorrow, where by all accounts it's 45 on the boat, which equates to 110 degrees with no air conditioning. Listen. And no ice maker, as far as I've been told, on that boat, right? So, but again, a change is as good as a rest. No doubt I'll lose a bit of weight through sweating. It's not as if I ain't been sweating here. I don't know how hot it is, but yeah, but there's no air. The windows right by the side of me are open fully, right? So just to let everyone know that. Well, let me have a quick look. Evening, Graham. Norman Stevens, how you doing, son? Timbuktu, Bandit. Let's have a look. Say Milking It Jenkins. Princess Jenkins. All good DD, Shaking 1961, Wilnut, Bandit, let's have a look. Silly Moo, you got your name back. Tony Baloney, Taffy Pat, Jeff Walker, Wilnut, Pat, Steve Lowness, how you doing? I'll see that video you sent me earlier. John Godley Harding, E for E, English for the English, England for the English, 5p5. Hello everyone, Frankie Jazz, Steve Whitaker, Jock the Lad, Sax 17. Will Nuts out there, Keck Rangel, Sir Keck, my old mucker, how you doing, son? Jules and 67, Evening DD and Patriots. There's a few things I'll be talking to you about tonight. And again, Deanne, I'm not going to tell. Let's have a look. Milking It Jenkins, let's have a look. So we are 2 minutes up until proper launch. Don't forget, sharing is caring. It's the number one thing that you can do to help the channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed, and don't forget to hit the like button, which is crucially important. In fact, I'm going to have a look in about 5 minutes and see if we can go past the 100 likes. So far we've got 126 watching in various different places. We've got 95 on Rumble. As we kick in, I can't remember if I've actually put this out there, but I will make sure I put this out there. Copy. Right, so I'll send this out there now, and then we'll go back to wherever we are. Live. The full English show. The full English show. Rumble. No. So I'll put that out there. Everyone should have been sent it, so everyone should have a look. Oliver Cromwell, Freemason, from what I've learned, was paid for Dutch Edomites against the King William of Orange in and helped to take over England. New Model Army, Redcoats, Rothschild money, Rumble. None of this history is a lie. Fuck knows who's talking about that. Right, so again, we're not really interested in going into any. So I'm not arguing nonsense. I'm only arguing what our Constitution states, right? Just to make sure everyone understands that. And there are some people out there that will listen to certain things. I'll give you an example. Scotland. It was a Scottish king that wanted the union. Just to make sure you're aware of that. For some reason, my screen's gone off. Why has my screen gone off? The only thing I can think of. Okay. Don't know what I can do with that. Touch wood. I've got absolutely no idea why it's just throwing me out, but it doesn't like it. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It might even be it could be anything. I don't know. It could be the heat. I don't think it is the heat, but it doesn't like it anyway. But what I am going to do is show you this again. Right, because we're now at 1 minute past 8, and then we'll go back and talk to you about another couple of things. Right, so here it is on the screen. It looks like it didn't like that, so we're going to share it. Right, have a listen to what he says. Right, so everyone just tuning in. This is a couple of days ago at a press conference. This is the beginning of the press conference. Let's put that out.
Transgender rulers, Mr. President. What would you say to Americans who fear that this is more and more concentration of power in the White House and the executive?
Well, this really brings back the Constitution. This is what it's all about. And this is really the opposite of that. I mean, the question is fine, but it's the opposite. The Constitution has been brought back.
Thank you so much, President Trump. Illegal crossings in the border are 0 now.
0. Does everyone hear that? 0.
Trump 2028.
Do you intend, President Trump?
Transgender rulers, Mr. President. What would you say to Americans who fear that this is more and more concentration of power in the White House and the executive?
Well, this really brings back the Constitution. This is what it's all about. And this is really the opposite of that. I mean, the question is fine, but it's the opposite. The Constitution has been brought back.
All right. So, again, I've been telling everyone America is taking back America constitutionally. It is under attack. The common law is under attack by communists, and they're using various means to do it. Right. So just to make sure you're all aware. So don't forget, I'll go off to the boat tomorrow to see Tim, and I'll be working non-stop on the case. I've got to get quite a bit done. I'm up against 4 barristers with 4 different arguments. But some of it is the same, some of it isn't, and I've got to go through every part of that argument. So all we're doing is separating and analysing at the moment, and then putting the law together to what it should be. I have again, out of the funds from the English Constitution Party, subscribed to a legal database that assists me, right? So whilst it is a legal database, they have got something called an AI Genie, right? But you don't use the AI Genie to create the case. You create the case and then you upload your legal argument. It then goes to find anything that can help and assist to strengthen your legal argument. And it comes from a legal database. It's not from Wikipedia, and it's actually connected to the law reports, to all the latest judgments, even one that was, for example, released yesterday, right? It would bring that in and say that is the information that we have. So you could adjust your argument by using these. We're going to be doing all that, or I'm going to be doing all that when I'm out there. So again, you've just seen that video. The Constitution is the solution. America takes back America constitutionally. That's what we've got to do with England. I noted today that Andy the Gabby Cabby had promoted something that I want everyone to have a quick look at. And not only did he actually pinned it to his Twitter, which I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes. And just to make sure everyone's got this, lots of people are saying some things here that I don't even know what's going on. What's that? Mass arrests have begun. One leads to another, to another. The Department of Justice has criminally charged 322 defendants, including 96 doctors, nurse practitioners, pharmacists, and other licensed medical professionals in 50 federal districts, 12 state attorneys, general officers across the United States for their alleged participation in various healthcare fraud schemes involving $14 billion in intended loss. When was this announcement? This is only a couple of hours ago. There are things happening. Let me just make sure I can put that up there and you all see what I'm talking about. And then we're going to talk about some...
Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew Gagliotti, and I'm the head of the Justice Department's Criminal Division. Thank you all for joining us today as we announce the largest coordinated healthcare fraud takedown in the history of the Department of Justice. Today marks a decisive moment in our fight to protect American taxpayers from fraudsters and to defend the integrity of America's healthcare system. We are announcing today charges against 324 defendants for their alleged participation in healthcare fraud schemes involving approximately $14.6 billion in false claims submitted to Medicare, Medicaid, and other healthcare programs. Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew Gagliotti.
So just to make sure everyone knows, right? So the next one I want to show you is this. This is Rupert Lowe, Get Your Country Back. Evidently, he has not joined Ben Habib's political party. And if you see the launch of the political party, you'll see that there are many foreigners that are supporting that political party of Ben Habib. That does not help England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, or Cornwall. and when I say Ireland, I am obviously speaking of Northern Ireland, right, in particular. That doesn't help you at all, right? So again, get your country back, join Restore Britain. But what is Restore Britain? Well, they seem to want to restore the British regime to its fullest. That means they support the political union and a centralised communist British Parliament, which is certainly not what I support and I've never supported. It's one of the reasons in the background that I left the English Democrats, because really they was conning people. They was started to suggest that devolution in an English Parliament would be fine. It is not fine if you leave the Acts of Union in place, which gives them authority to do exactly what they want. Right? There's two elements to this which I believe people should really understand. Now, this Restore Britain as an island, in the integrity of the island and the nations contained within Great Britain. Great Britain exists as an island. The British Isles exists as islands, right? People need to understand that you can restore Britain if you go back to pre 1706, 1707. What does that mean? You would be going back to a common law union, because we already had the union in 1603. What you don't want is a political union which has incorporated, and Sir William Wade actually said this in his book Constitutional Fundamentals. He actually said that Scotland is overrepresented in the British Parliament. And that creates unfairness. So, again, you must also look at what Nigel Farage is talking about. He says that ship has sailed, devolution, but he is continuing with the destruction via regionalisation of England. So, in other words, 9 regions. London is a region of the European Union, and levelling up actually means levelling down, because the other areas all around England that they regard as the northeast and east and whatever as the regions is actually designed to remove England from the face of the earth. And anyone who supports that committing treason, right? Anyone supports the European Communities Act 1972, it should have been made void as being ultra vires and unconstitutional. Instead, it was repealed. There is only one way of dealing with England and taking it back, and that is to be a common law union. If the people then decide that they don't want a monarchy, you become republics in your own right. And the people who have created this issue, and it is an issue, are the British themselves. And again, British nationality destroyed English, Scottish, Irish, Welsh, and Cornish, technically, with the British Nationality Act of 1981 and 1947. And they created a legal fiction of British, meaning if you accept that legal fiction as your nationality, you have no rights, because you're saying I'm not English. So anyone who doesn't understand that is blatantly, by ignorance, committing treason against England. And as everyone should be aware, there is no defence of ignorance. You should all understand what the law is. So majorly, and I am seeing different people getting involved. So this is not a Restore Britain is not a political party, it's a movement. So what they've understood by this, and this is only my personal opinion, more and more people out there, and especially at the other side of the pond, are understanding that it is the British that is the problem. It is the political union that was installed without the consent of the people in 1706, 1707. Within 70 years of it being created, they'd attacked the English colonies in the United States of America. And during at the beginning of the War of Independence, they've stood up and said, we want the same rights as an Englishman. So a bit like Northern Ireland, America are more English than the English. Because what's happened now is these people, and I'm talking about Rupert Lowe, Ben Halib, Nigel Farage, Tommy Robinson, all of those people are constitutionally illiterate. Many of our judges are constitutionally illiterate. The majority of our solicitors and barristers are constitutionally illiterate via misinstruction from universities and law schools that have misinstructed, misinterpreted, and lied to the people that they was educating. And the reason why that happened is because the Fabian Society and Common Purpose infiltrated every one of our institutions, right? So because I was not trained in that way, I was trained by my own knowledge and reading the actual law, which I've sent out and is being ignored by many people, right? So all I'm saying to people is people need to understand what it is. So again, these people, so we will have our country back, land of my forefathers, land of my kin, land of British future, yet to begin. It should be removed completely. Land of rain, cloud, and without and within, land of my people, it's ours to so whoever writ this bullshit, I'm not even going to carry on with that. It's just nonsense. And again, he is now standing firmly behind the British, or in front of the British flag, right? So now you all understand that he is creating a movement, and again, he's doing exactly what Farage did. They're trying to mop up these different people and con people into believing that Britain is a country and not an island, right? It's telling you it's when in fact the British Union is a political union, no different to the USSR, no different to the European Union, and it is cowardice, mental cowardice on their part not to admit that, all right? And they're being brainwashed by the mainstream media, etc. And the only people out there presenting this correctly, lawfully, exactly as the law is us. There's no one else, right? So again, he is now, again, UKIP are the same. They are literally all intent on destroying England. The 2011 census was asked, the people were asked for the first time, are you English national identity? Are you Scottish, British, whatever, right? And 32.4 million people wrote on that document, English only national identity, right? That's what they wrote. That means they are part of the common law jurisdiction of England, right? And 11 million were British, half of them are complete and utter foreigners, right? So 5 million were actually confused. But if you ask them the question in the right way and don't lead them with Britishness, which is a nonsense, right? It's no different to what the USSR did. And how did the USSR take back? How did Russia take back its country from the USSR? it dissolved or devolved, completely removed, nullified, which is voiding the union documents that were signed, right? And they said, we are now rescinding these. What happened? Immediately, Russia come back, right? All the other nations come back as free nations. And that is what's going on now. So with what Trump's doing in America, and again, if you want me to replay you the video, I will, right? He is now putting the power back, right, to the independent states, which technically are nations in their own right. That's how the Constitution was. It was the United Independent Nations of America, right? America was never a nation in its own right. It just had a common group of people and a very, very, very small federal government that spoke for the people externally, right? Internally, it was the states that gathered the states, right, or governed the states. In England, that is the model of England. So when I say we go back to pre 1706, 1707, you are returning to a common law union, right, which is by the people of the people, not an enforced statutory union, right? That's what we're talking about. That's it simplified, right? So again, everyone would be responsible for their own countries. That's it. You would also get involved with trade and trade tariffs. And one of the reasons why they're terrified of England is because we're obviously the largest country. So we're going to be able to produce. We've got to make sure that we can turn the country around, but we can do. And it can be done with tariffs easily. All these long queues you're seeing at airports all over Europe, where they get in that queue while the European Union passports go straight through, waving at you and smiling, right? Put a 50% tariff on them and see how quickly that goes, right? So that's the thing that you have to remember. I've got a voice message on there, but I can't listen to it now because I would be putting it out there. Evening, DD. Not working for me on Rumble for a good while now. I wonder why. I'll have to ask, but people will have to. You've got to start sending, instead of sending messages to me, if things go wrong with Rumble, you need to contact Rumble, right? There's a support number on there. And then tell them that, why does this keep happening to our channel? So again, don't forget, sharing is caring. Don't forget to hit the like button, crucially important, and please subscribe. And as a few people said to me the other day, is that a green screen behind you, or they're real books? No, they're real books. Right? And here's another one, right? This was sent to me by Q some time ago. But I needed to look at, funny enough, it come up, right? So this is, let me just see where this is. The law reports under the Superintendence and Control of Incorporated Council of Law Reporting for England and Wales, 1931, right? February the 3rd, 1932, it was produced, right? Now, there's a couple of things I want to read out to you. And there's a section in here on the Crown, right? And what it says... do you remember me telling you that Douglas Carswell was started to talk about the Crown in Council, right? Which is equivalent of their lawmakers, right? And I just wanted to make sure that people understood this. And I said he's right, right? And some people went, no, it's got to be by Parliament, right? But that isn't correct, right? So I just want to make sure there's some other bits it says in here, but let me, there's a piracy bit in here. There is damages, right? I hope this is the part I'm looking for. The legislative authority over the territory of the Crown Protectorate belongs to the Crown and is controllable only by the Imperial Parliament. So they call it an imperial parliament, right? Which is, you don't want that. An imperial parliament is not the same as a common law parliament, right? Under the Foreign Jurisdictions Act 1890, the prerogative power of legislation in respect of protectorates is exercised by orders in council, right? And these orders have statutory effect, right? So, in effect, we are England is a colony, right? That is what we are. We are technically a protectorate, although they're not doing a very good job of protecting us because they hate us. But what does that mean? It is exercised by orders in council, and these orders have statutory effect. And now this this is actually in the law reports, right? So what does it mean? It means, and again, it cites the law that says it. And you've got, and it says about petition of right is in there, etc. Why is it important? These little books are very important because they come out of absolute nuggets, right? Nuggets that Wikipedia, which feeds general AI and people doing their little searches, I know the law, right? You don't, because garbage in is garbage out, right? You have to read these law books to understand what the law is. And that's all I'm trying to say to you. But Douglas Carswell, I said he was right constitutionally, and he is right constitutionally. I just want you to understand something. As part of this case, I have said there are three types of parliament, right? And again, this is part of the education of this audience, right? There are three types of parliament. Can anyone guess what they are? Right. Let me just have a quick look. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And please don't forget to share. Sharing is so important. You don't realise you're the people that are building this channel up. And now people all around the world are understanding, right? There's a group of people here called the English, and we don't agree with what the British are doing. But we are a captured nation. So I'm going to need you to help you to do something else, right? So the three forms, I won't do it in typing. The three forms of parliament are, in order of importance, and you're going to like this: convention parliament, number one. The number one authority. There is nothing that can beat it. And the reason for that is because there is no crown. It is a pure commoners' parliament, right? You will have barons, but you'll have us there as well. So a convention parliament is the highest form of parliament. Why is that important? Well, in the case, it's going to be explained and explained in detail about the common law effect of that, right? Second type of technically parliament or making law, right? Guess what? It's the Crown in Council, right? That is more powerful. More powerful even than an ordinary parliament. And then you've got an ordinary parliament. An ordinary parliament is what we've got now, right? That's an ordinary parliament. So there's three types of in effect parliament or lawmaking, right? And the three types of lawmaking under our constitution, right, is the convention parliament, highest authority, which is governed by the common law and only the common law. There's nothing else, because there is no crown. There is nothing else. There is technically no executive. There's nothing. It's a convention parliament. It's of the people for the people, right? So convention parliament, Crown in Council. So Douglas Carswell was right. I said he was right when he sent it out there. I've never really heard anyone speak of it before, but it is absolutely true. So Douglas Carswell understands that element, right? And third is an ordinary parliament, right? Now, under an ordinary parliament, you've got a number of other things, right? You've got what's known as regulations, as statutory instruments, and rules made under statutory instruments. Why is that important? Because they are not primary law. And if they affect any of your rights, you can go straight into the High Court and say, no, I'm not having it, right? So part of this case, there's going to be I'm going to bring in as authorities to explain why I'm saying this as a common lawyer, what the actual law is and what is the most powerful law in the country and why it is that no judge can go against it. Once it's been explained to them and they understand what that is, they need to understand fully that their judgment can only be against this. So CPR rules are the lowest form of law. Election petition rules are the lowest form of law. If either of them stop you getting to the substantial law created by a convention parliament, which is the highest form of law, or the common law, which are maxims. So if there's anything that is a maxim of English law, I'll give you an example of a maxim of English law. Restraint of trade. If someone stops you from earning a living, which is why COVID was so unconstitutional, right, and a complete load of bollocks to boot, right? Has it been used recently? The most famous case of restraint of trade was Wayne Rooney, right? And here's the kicker: the lower court said, no, this all stands. Blah, blah. I can't strike that out. I can't do this. I can't do that, right? Because he had the money, he appealed it. And he appealed it to the Supreme Court. And one of the things that the lower court said was, we don't do ancient laws. And when it got into the Supreme Court, they said, this is common law jurisdiction. Of course we do ancient laws. We don't have destitute, right? We don't, a law that hasn't been used, and again, it happened with Sir Edward Coke, where the Magna Carta hadn't been used for 200 years. And he brought it up and said, this is still law. And they actually accept it, right? And it's still law today, by the way, right? So restraint of trade, but he only got access to justice because he had money, right? So what we're saying is, we've got no money. You've got a basic right of freedom and purity of election, and these people are attacking us, right? So again. So a maxim of law is restraint of trade. It goes all the way back 800 years. Why does it? Because the king and the crown were monopolising printing. Printing had become a massive business, and they said, no, you can't print anything unless you have our seal on it, right? You've got to give us a penny a print. Imagine that, right? And again, it went to court and they went that, and there was a lot more to the story than that, but I mean a lot more to the story than that, right? But it was found that you can't have a monopoly, right? And it's where America gets its antitrust laws. It's where we get our monopoly laws from. It all stems from restraint of trade, right? You can trace it all the way back to the maxim, right? So another maxim of law, just to make sure you all get this and understand, let me tell you something. There's some other things that I've found, right, going back to 1920, a perfect example of smacking someone in the face when they're talking to you in the High Court and say, what's that then, right? I'm not going to say what it is yet, but they're not going to like it, right? And this has come from the research from the legal database, right, and from the law books, etc. And you know, when you look at something, you think, "What's that?" And then in the law book, it tells me what it is, and I can't get access to it. So I go back to this database and put it in, and then go bang, and all of a sudden it comes up, right? And then I can read through it and go, "Oh my God, that's absolutely what I'm looking for," right? Crack, and all of a sudden you've got an authority because the judges asked for the authorities. When you present the authorities, you're not just presenting the stare decisis precedents in law, which have been set by the judges because the common law is judge-made law, right? you're also showing them the authorities in the actual enactment. So don't forget what we're doing with that, which is going all the way back. So the next part I was going to explain to you, and I think it's really important, is, and I think I've already said it on the show, is the Pinochet case, right? Well, the Pinochet case, Law Reports number 2, is very succinct, right? It's only a one-page document, a little tiny bit like that. And it basically says 5 law lords have made a decision on Pinochet to extradite him to Spain, right? Turns out that Lord Hoffman, wife, worked for something like a charity. I think it was Amnesty International, right? Who was part of the group of people that wanted him extradited for war crimes to Spain so he could be tried for torture, right? By the way, this is all under UNCAT, right? This is why they're terrified of what we're doing with the other side of it, right? Trust me, this is legal strategy like you've never seen before. And there's things that I've found now, I'm like, right, now I can see why these people are getting frightened, right? I won't say what them parts are, but I will be using them. So getting back to what happened. So a legal maxim is you can't be a judge in your own cause, right? It's the ultimate. So a legal maxim means that is the actual common law maxim. You cannot be a judge in your own cause. So if there and if there's anything to see bias, which is what the Pinochet case put forward, there can't be any. What was the word they use? You can't even. There can't even be a suggestion. It can't even look like it. I forget what the word is that they use. It's annoying me now. But basically, you can't allow even the perception of bias, right? A perception of bias don't mean there is bias, but you're not even allowed to have the perception of bias, right? So. And a judge must offer his recusal, right? If there is, even if there's a perception of bias, right? So 5 law lords had to strike down the ruling of another 5 law lords because they were showing people, in effect, right? And I'm just making sure that everyone understands, right? That you all understand what I'm saying to you. Even at the highest level of our judiciary, the law lords had to strike down another 5 law lords' decision because it went against the maxim of you can't be a judge in your own cause. Do you all understand that? There is another maxim of law, all right? And the maxim of law is everyone has access to the courts. Everyone, right? You all have access to the courts. And if anyone interferes with that access to the courts, they are going against the maxim of law. That is in this case as well, right? But most importantly, there is another element of that law, which is that you cannot make rules up, even if primary legislation is fine within reason, right? And you can even strike out parts of primary legislation. You don't have to. It's a bit like contract law, right? If you ever took anything to a judge and said, "Well, I want this contract dismissed and revoked and made void," the judge would read it and say, "No, the contract stands, but that paragraph doesn't, and that paragraph doesn't." If that's what you're saying, that it's offending, you're right. So you can have that removed because it goes against a maxim of law, right? Nothing can go against a maxim of law. No policy from any corporation, nothing can go against a maxim of law, right? It's really important you understand this. So from the other side of the fence, you've got the CPR rules. What are CPR rules? Well, they're administrative rules. That's all they are. Are they allowed to interfere with the substantial and fundamental constitutional and common law rights and maxims of law? And the answer is no, they're not. They're not. So, in effect, can petition rules go against them rights? No, they're not allowed to. Is there law that shows they have been struck out and said that is unlawful if you do that? If you use CPR rules or petition rules to try and strike out someone's case? Yes, there is. And there is precedent for it, all right? So that's the main thing to tell everyone. What I'm trying to do now is, it's not so much complex, but is to individually read through, which what I'm doing, and then crossing off. So you find, so there's 4 barristers against me, including Sarah Pochin, right, MP, who's opened up a can of worms, right, which I think is hilarious. This is when you don't understand and you think, I think she may even have concocted her arguments from AI, which means I will have a fucking laugh at this one, right? But making sure everyone's aware of this. In relation to our current case, the ultimate authority is the first statute of Westminster, chapter 5. The next one is Henry IV and Henry VII. And the next one is the English Declaration of Reasons, which mentions freedom of election, I think, 5 times. Then you this is the original context, right? Then you got freedom of elections in a Declaration of Rights, right, separate to the Declaration of Reasons, mentioned 4 or 5 times, and then you've got public law, which is the Bill of Rights, right? It's in there, and you can't go against that, right? Because it goes back to the original contract between the king and the people, right? So what I'm doing is showing them these are the reasons why you can't go against it, and this is the reason, because freedom of elections is a fundamental right. It's not just about actual democracy, right? Because when you put people into Parliament, you can change the laws on juries. You can try and change the laws on this. Parliament could go to war, right? And if they've got there by cheating, the enemy only needs to get the cheats in there to go and create a war, and you'll go and fight for them, right? Do you understand what I'm saying, Charles? This is so fundamental to the way our country works. It's got to be listened to properly, right? But also, if you get a number of communists, Marxists, etc., in Parliament, if what they say is that the Parliament is sovereign, they could abolish the monarchy and they can abolish the judiciary and say we don't need either. We're just going to use AI, and our corporations that we support are going to create the AI. And the security system that goes with it. All of a sudden, you're completely enslaved, right? Do you understand how serious this case is? And it's also the most basic thing ever, right, about cheating. It goes against what's known as natural law. Why does it? Because if you said to 2 4-year-olds, right, there's 2 4-year-olds there, right, and they're playing a game, and one 4-year-old says to the other, I'm not playing with you no more, you cheat, right? And the other kid goes, well, I still won, right? And then a grown-up comes along and said, hang on, you two, stop arguing. Let's have a listen. The grown-up is the judge. What did you do? Well, I don't know. What do you think he done? Well, right. Do you know what the rules of the game are? And this is the rules of the game. Right. So the judge says you cheated. Therefore, you haven't won. It's null and void. Right? It's as simple as that. And the other kid goes, yeah, so I've won. And then the judge says, not really. Right? Instead, you have to start the game again. And this time, she ain't allowed to cheat, you ain't allowed to cheat, and you both know what the rules are. Right? Bosh. That's what happens. That's what you're trying to explain to a judge. It's basic. It's basic law. There's nothing clever about what I'm doing. What they're trying to do is use legalese, right, to complicate this situation. And what I'm trying to say is I'm not getting involved or drawn into your legalese. We are looking at the foundation of our country, and that is what we are putting forward when we go forward. So don't forget that side of it. I'm sure there was another one that I was going to show you or explain to you, but you all get that. Give me an English flag if you understand it. If you don't understand it, tell me. And the reason why I ask you these questions is because if I'm explaining this to a judge, right, I mean, I'm not getting any feedback from the judge. The judge is just going to sit there making notes, putting it out, marking it off and saying things, and then goes to making a judgment. So I've got to use the most powerful arguments I can in that court, right? And then explain it coherently, right? Because you can't jump from one bit to another. So because it's 4 different barristers, I've got to try and take their points like that and say, well, I'm covering that in that, right? There's these other points I'm covering, and these are their individual points. So there are the points that they're all covering at once as one group of people. And some of them I consider I've already knocked them out, right? And again, it's going to be down to the judge. And there's some other elements to this as well, which is, look at them, everyone understands it. Well done. Music Fan 7, hello, darling, how are you? Don't forget I'm off to Devon soon, but I am coming up to Bedford. And where else am I going? Norfolk. And then I've got another one in, is it Dorset? I can't remember. I've no doubt. And I've got to start advertising them as well. So if anyone wants to come along to them, they can. What's this one? New Age, but someone put their name to it. Let's have a look at this. Juicy and Lucy. Let me have a look and see if anyone else is in there. Check out our Tommy's podcast. Yeah, there was a podcast on Spotify, but the video is going to go up on this channel. I'm not sure if I can actually show it on here. I'm not sure if I can find it. My feed, editor's choice. Let's have a look and see if I can find him. I'll be looking. Where's Tommy? Tommy, you on there? I'm not getting half of these things sent out to me. Is that going all the way to the bottom? What's that one? Let's have a look. Save you all. Right. Daddy Dragon is live now. 412 Productions. Should be Wednesday night. I'll be on 412. And then a week after that, it will be Dr. Glidden. Chris. Dr. Glidden. Let's have a look if I can find him. Exposed pedos in the cabal. Yeah, completely agree with that. Glenn Greenwald. Greg Hunter's USA Watchdog. Heritage Party. Heritage Party have got 308 followers. Wow. Let me have a quick look at this. Kerry Lake. LSB Film Productions are coming up. Well done. 693 followers. Let me have a look. Lex Friedman. He ain't got a lot of followers. Man in America. That's another one we want to get on. Man in America. 145,000 followers. Matt Everett. Nicholas Jointe, Postmarket, Paul, he ain't got a lot of followers. Let me have a look. Rattle Trap, 1776, he's a good one. Rattle Trap, and then people start to understand it. Richard Medhurst, he won't talk to me, he's a lefty. He thinks anyone who's in English is a bad person. Short Atwood is another great one. Sonia Poulton is another good one. I'm just trying to find you where this is. The Sovereign Soul Show, don't know what that is. TNT Radio, I'm getting rid of that. I'll have to delete that. Let's see how many people. The Full English Show, Bite Size, 200 followers. The Jimmy Dore Show, that's another good one. If I could get on the Jimmy Dore Show, and people understood what we were saying. Fantastic. Let me have a look. Here it is, Tommy's podcast. So I'm going to be on here. I think it's going to be sometime this week, right? And most people, so if you want to follow this, you can, right? And just put a message on there if you can from the Full English Show, right? I've just put that out there. That's going to be fantastic, right? Because we had a proper discussion. And he was really relaxed, and so was I, and we was just going through it. So what was just put out was the podcast of that. So it's just me talking and having a chat and then explaining things. But he's a really lovely fella. That's it. So I just want to make sure everyone sees it. He's got 50,000 followers on Rumble. And he said he will ask his people to come over and follow us on Rumble. So the Jimmy Dore show, there was a few of them I've read out that was really good. You need to try and contact them and get us up there. So Chris Thrall was good, but he's a big woo-woo for me. Why is he a woo-woo? He's all right, Chris. Chris is all right. He does his own thing, which is what I like. He is an independent mind. I've tried with Jimmy Dore over and over. He'd be really interested if he had time, but he's dedicated to sorting you or something. Yeah, but he's just done. So two of our members went along to an event that he did over here. If people now started to send Jimmy Dore a message, I don't know what his email is, but if you started to message him and say a couple of people give you some documentation, Alan give him some documentation again, and Joseph both went there and see it. So all it is to put a shot. Yeah, I agree. CMP Jimmy Dore would be good. So I don't know if anyone can find Jimmy Dore's email address. Has anyone got? Is he on YouTube or not? Let's see if I can find. I mean, I don't like going on YouTube. Jimmy Dore. How many followers has he got on Jimmy Dore? Jimmy Dore, Aluminium Bright, the Jimmy Dore show, right? So how many people have got on that? Subscribers. He's got 1.5 million subscribers, 10,000 videos, and then he's got, I forget how many thousands on Rumble. But let me see if I can go and find. He's got become a member. Videos. Stop that. Let me see if I can find him. More. Become a premium member. Join. Blah 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 blah. Jimmy Dore. He's got a Twitter account there, Jimmy Dore. So if loads of people was to tweet in and say, please interview Graham Moore, English Constitution Party. Let me have a look and see if his. I don't think his email is actually on there. So the best way, he's on Facebook and he's on Instagram. Let's have a look and see if I can find him on here. So I've just clicked on that. Yeah, I'll follow. Let me hit the button on that. Right, Jimmy Dore. So if anyone wants to send him a thing and say, do it individually. Let me see if I can hit this button. Crypto Rich on China. Wait more, this one. Send the link out. Okay, thank you. There's another one here. So here's Jimmy Dore. So let me just make sure I can tell you this, right? Just to make sure I tell you this, right? It's not me sending an email. It's you. When you all send the emails and find out his email, and you all say to Jimmy Dore, please get Graham Moore on, right? He will listen to you, right? And you will see an explosion like what's happening now. I mean, I've got a personal opinion about what's going on in the background. I can't believe I'm soaking wet and sweat here. And people just need to know what's going on. Let's have a look. Is that his email address? Okay, let me Let me put that out. I'll copy that. Oh, balls. Let me copy it. I can't copy it from there on. There it is, right? So let me copy that, right? Everyone needs to send him an email. But if you all send an email separately and say, please have Graham Moore on, right? And then you say to him, he's on Twitter. But if you were to say to him, like, please, like, interview him. There's a few others on there that I just read out. Let me go and have a look. But there's something else that I want to. Let's see if I can put this one up there. Hang on, let me see if I can bring this up for you, because there's people sending me this and saying this. So again, I do want to promote these things. Let's put another one out there. This one here, right? You can go. You can go and watch this one, right? So here it is. Freedom from globalist control, right? Now the guy on the top right, he does. So again, I'm not getting into battles with anyone anymore, right? This is a highly intelligent man, right? A career in the, I think it was a Greenberries. He was a Greenberry, or he was a Marine. Hopefully you don't take disrespect that I can't remember which one it was, right? But he's military intelligence. He's not thick. He understands exactly what's going on. At the level that we're at, we understand that there is a controlling factor. We may disagree on how the controlling factor got there. That's not an issue, right? So you shouldn't argue about it. The principle of this is there is a controlling factor and we need to remove it, right? That's why I like this fella. This was on Crypto Rich. I'm not sure how many subscribers he's got there. But that particular, I don't know how many views that video's had. Where would it tell you? 750 views, right? But can't, right? Putting that one out there, so I'm going to promote that. If you want to go and see that, that was a great interview, right? And again, I've sort of trained myself now not to attack people, right? Because the American Constitution and the English Constitution are slightly different. I'll be honest with you. They've made mistakes and we've made mistakes, right? But the point is we need to get to a position where we pull the power back to the people, right? That's why that geezer is spit on the money, right? And I think his name is in there, right? But some of the comments in there that were partially negatives, coming out with different things. I expect that. Romsky, he's a green beret, so he's a green beret, right? And again, there's someone else out there that I've seen on numerous shows, and I've mentioned him a number of times on our channel, which is a guy called Michael Yon. I would love to have. And Michael Yon is a bit of me, and do you know why? He only reads old books, and he's proud of the fact that he reads the old books, and he shows people. Right? He says, look what it says in here, right? And he's taken you to the source where we've all been conned, right? That's what one of the, and again, Michael Yon is a different person in terms of, and I think he was a Green Beret. He's what's known as a combat journalist, right? He actually he does things, and when he talks, right, he was on the Tommy, that channel I put out, Tommy's channel, he was on there. It's just the way he talks. It's just a bit of me. It's like talking to someone from the SAS, right? He says, like, you know, even if you're off duty and you're special forces, because he was talking about Israel and what happened, and it took 7 hours. We got any men to the border. He said it's a tiny country. He said you get a Black Hawk helicopter up in 4 minutes, right? Fully armed, right, and fully crewed, right? So all I'm saying to you is, and then he goes through this conversation. He said, listen, if it had been me, right, and I heard gunfire, he said, someone in special forces, he said, if you ain't got guns and you ain't got arms, he said, you pick a fucking shovel up and you aim for where that is, because your job is to protect them people. That's what you're fucking paid for, right? And he goes into this rant, right? He said, even if I had to do it with a shovel, right? And then he says, and then when you get there, you basically operate to pick up a weapon off of one of your enemy that you've just fucking killed, right? That's the way special forces operate. And I was like, go on, son, you tell them, right? But this is the most important thing. I want to make sure I express this to everyone, right? He is highly intelligent. This is Michael Yon as well, right? And he tells you as it is. So when he looks at the border, or in the Texas and the southern border, Arizona as well, he says, who are the people that are bringing the people across? Hayab, which is the Hebrew, whatever, blah, 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 right? Jews. And he said the Jesuits, right? They're the people bringing them across. So it's obvious something is going on with these people and they're attacking our country, right? He just tells it as it is. He's honest. That's what I like. When I see these people, and especially when they've got experience like that, and they just tell you the way it is, and you go, saying, I like him because he's just telling you the truth. He's not mixing. He's got no political correctness about him, right? He just says, listen, and his best friend who helps him is Jewish, and he says, like, it's fucking obvious. It's obvious, right? That you can't do that. You can't turn around and say that all Jews are bad. It's obvious not all Jews are bad. That's why we call them the Jewish mafia, right? Just because you say American mafia doesn't mean you're saying every American's a crook, does it? Right? In fact, most of them are hard-working, really lovely people, right? But there is a Jewish mafia. So we're against organised crime, especially when it affects our nations. And that's exactly what Putin was, right? Putin actually said, we're not part of your system. And he got all the oligarchs, the criminals together, right? The top faces, sat them around a table and said, right, here's a line. You cross the line and start to hurt the motherland, right? That's a no-no. And two of them stuck their middle finger up at him. And within 7 days, they was both dead, right? That's how you enforce the law against the oligarchs. Just to let you know. Let me have a look. You and who? Art Shikes from USA went to jail, real up on books on his cell. Would be good, DD. Ewan, I don't know who that is. Music fan, Steve at Crowder, email address. I mean, I'm a member of Crowder's. He's never out. I've emailed him a couple of times. I even use his mug and promote his show. But that's the way it is. So I've sent you that one out. Let me go back to my... Let's take that off of there. Right, let's go back to my normal thing again. See if there's anything else. What's that one saying? Mod me up on SpewTube and I can send a link out, mate. Save you messing. I haven't got access to that. Who is it who's got access to it? Juicy and Lucy. Can you make it Mark EP70 a moderator on the our SpewTube channel? Right, what else is coming up on here? Contact Jimmy Dore. There, someone else has come up with that. There's another email address. I don't know which one's what here. Copy email. Right, put that one out. So get us on Jimmy Dore. Right, and don't forget, Alan and Joseph went to his show and was talking to him about us, and he took some paperwork on mine. Said, "Yeah, I'll read it and all that." Right. They just need to know that we are a straight up group of people, and especially if we're constitutionalists. What's this one? Sonia Polton wants to do a chat with you Monday. Today's Monday, isn't it? It is Monday today. Sonia wants to do if you're free. Monday? What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Tuesday, so that's today. When did you send that? 12, 21, 2053. All right. Do you mean next Monday? I should be able to. Tell her probably, but I'm gonna be in Portugal, right? And what I'll do is I'll set it up because I'm taking out my mobile Starlink dish, right? I've never done it before. It's the first time I've set it up I'm going to be using it in Devon. You're going to love this. I'm going to do some hikes right through Dartmoor, and then showing and do some lives or do some video work. I prefer doing it live when I'm out there, and then covering some stuff up, and then I'll have this little dish outside, and people will be going, "Wow." Okay. Well, don't forget, if you need to put that in my diary. Is she talking about Monday AM or PM as well? So if I and then we need to put it in our diary. Let me just have a quick look. Is there anything else coming forward? YouTube. So you need to make EP70 on there. Let's have a quick look. I'm absolutely sweating. Right. I have just washed this shirt, right, ready to go tomorrow, right? I haven't even ironed it, and it's soaking. When I got off the show yesterday to the guy in Ireland, I was soaked. I mean, literally soaked. Anyway, forget that. I'm going to show you this again because I think it's really important. Who's this one? What's this one? Say something on YouTube so I can click your name to make you a moderator. So, hopefully, Mark EP70, if you say something and indicate to them that you are Mark EP70, they will make you a moderator. I'll sort the time in a week. It's definitely morning, defo morning. Okay. But like I say, so my objective is to get up probably 4 o'clock in the morning because it's going to be a lot cooler, and then work up until, I don't know, 12. So it'd be at least 6 hours a day concentrating solely on the case and nothing else, right? And then I've got to compile it into this document, and then I've got to make it into and then sign it and send it off to them. So hopefully it'll be as sweet as a nut. Told her that already. Say something. Hopefully you got that on there, right? That's it. Let me have a quick look. What's that? Say something on YouTube. Just said hi to Keck. Right. Any questions? All right. I'm going to show you this again because I think it's so important that I cannot not show you it. Right. I've always said to you all, right, that President Trump and his team, some of the ways they're going to have to go to get to these places or get to these positions where they can take the country back constitutionally, some people are not going to like it, right? And again, I've got to remind myself to bring something up. Someone should remind me of this. I'm going to bring up the integram, so Cromwell's protectorate in this court case, whether they like it or not, right? Because I'm going to say that is legal history, right? And just to make sure everyone gets it. Because otherwise what they're saying, which would be wrong, let me go back. Right, I've got to show you this again, right? Here it is. Put this on there, right? I'm going to play this again. I want you to listen. Now the audience is on there, right? The Constitution is the solution. America takes back America constitutionally. That's what I've been telling everyone. The Constitution is so vitally important, right? And what the British are going to try and do is exactly what the European Union tried to do, impose a constitution on us to take away our rights. We're not accepting that, right? But here it is. Listen carefully to what he says.
And Mr. President, what would you say to Americans who fear that this is more and more concentration of power in the White House and the executive?
Well, this really brings back the Constitution. This is what it's all about. And this is really the opposite of that. I mean, the question is fine, it's the opposite. The Constitution has been brought back.
I'll show you it again. It's so important, right? Just listen to this again. This is on a press conference. And if anyone's got the link to what I sent out where President Trump said about England, right? They That's the ultimate country, not the British.
Transgender rulers, Mr. President. What would you say to Americans who fear that this is more and more concentration of power in the White House and the executive?
Well, this really brings back the Constitution. This is what it's all about. And this is really the opposite of that. I mean, the question is fine, but it's the opposite. The Constitution has been brought back.
Right. So again, what I'm going to do now is take that off, stop sharing. I'm going to see if I can bring up, and I don't know how I'm going to do this on the screen at the moment. Let's go back to the whole part of this, right? So you want to go to see this again, and it is Trump, England. Right? Hopefully I can find this. Probably won't like this very much. It is now searching my hard disk. Let me just, it's looking and it's working and it's trying to find it. The Constitution is the solution. Absolutely. So again, don't forget to hit the like button, right? Before I go and have a look at the like button, because it depresses me when I see it below 100. I think to myself, it should be over 100, right? Do me a favour, hit the like button now. Share, because we've got over 400 and something people watching at the moment. It was very nearly over, and again, it possibly could be on, if it's with, I can't get the Twitter numbers up, it could be over 500. And don't forget, my shows on YouTube originally used to, regularly every night was 1,500. The most I ever had was 10,000, right? But they don't like what we say, right? So what I'm going to do now is try, hopefully, and see if this comes up. But there's a particular video. I wonder if I can actually find it. It would be on my thing, and it's England. England, Trump. G7, I think it was. There you go. Let's have a look. Visit Donald Trump. Graham Moore. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So I'm going to show you this, right? You'll like this. Not a lot. You're going to like this. I'm going to put it on the screen, right? Now, I've just shown you that video. Now look at this one. Listen to what he says. I'm going to put this out there. That's only had 13 retweets. So I'm going to send it back out to everyone. So you can put this out there. Right. Now, here goes. Watch this. Right. So, actually, Trump is pro-English. Who did I say? I said that to Rupert Lowe, right? He said it during G7 press conference, yet you will not speak of England or taking down the regions. Getting the regions is terrible, right? Trump is taking down the regions. He's taking down the FEMA regions. If anyone knows how that come about, I could tell you. But let me just make sure you can see this.
But which alliance will be more important, with the EU or with Britain?
Both. I don't want to say which. Look, I think we have been with, I guess it would start off by saying England, right? You know, I asked Boris, where's England? What's happening with England? They don't use it too much anymore. We talked about it. It was very interesting.
Right, did you all understand that? Right, not without me being too right. So it's not me. I'm not imagining this, right? So he's talking about the Constitution. He's talking about England. He's talking about all this, and things have started going our way in a big way. So it's you that's doing that, not me, right? Just want to make sure you get that. So let me, before I do anything, I'm going to hit the button to see how many. So I need you to share. Right, so even if you shared earlier, grab the stuff. I want to see a load. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, right? Just to make sure. I want you to share. Pick up the Earl, do what you got to do, and share it, right? And what I'm going to do now is show you something else. I'm going to put this I've got to put that up there, and I've got to put live chat up there. Hit the English flag, right? Hit the English flag so everyone watching this show knows that we talk about England, right? And that we love the brotherhood of nations, right? So put the other flags up there, including the Texas flag, by the way, because they're just as English as the English, right? The Constitution comes from England. The whole thing comes from England. Well said, President Trump. You were spot on. That's what I mean. Now look at this, right? So you're sharing this, Karen. While you do that, I'm going to hit the like to see how many likes there are on here. Oh, look at that. It's absolutely lighting up. Look at that light up, right? Well done. Look at them English flags, right? So everyone can see exactly what's going on, right? You only get that on Rumble. That's why the British hate us. You won't see a British flag anywhere, right? And I'm going to hit the button. How many likes we've got? Oh my, 146 likes. Oh, and the trolls asleep. Can't handle the heat. Right. So you're the ones getting the message out. We need to get on to Jimmy Doyle. I did say some other ones. You want me to go through the people that I think you want to try and get us on, but Jimmy Doyle was a big one. Again, Steve, whatever his name was again, Chandler or whatever it was. Yeah, Music Fan 7. There you go. I'm English, not British. I love that. Go on, son. Music Fan, Kew Gardens. Look at that, look. So all I'm saying to the people on YouTube, right? If you're rediscovering that I'm on there, don't forget I had thousands and thousands and thousands of subscribers. They took me down. On Facebook, I had 20,000 friends, I think it was, and 5 different things and everything. I had 3,000 in my block list because who was controlling it? Sir Nick Clegg, the Deputy Prime Minister of the UK, was doing that, and they took me out. Like, I can't even put my voice print on there. So I just want everyone to understand that we can push this forward, but it's got to be done by us, right? So you're doing it. Let's see if there's any more up there. We're already going up to 159. So if you're watching it, and hit the like button, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Rumble, whether you're on, if you're watching it live on Twitter, etc. But I mean, I get the figures up in front of me, and they're going all the way up like that. Because when you resend it, other people come in and click and say, "Oh, what's this?" Especially when they see the English flag up there as well. Kew Gardens, Neil 56. Well done, son. Right. I need to check something else because I've got a message coming. The one who sent me that message. I need to go and listen to that message in a minute. Who's that one? Andy J. I don't know who Andy J is. Trump is reportedly looking to recruit Kentucky State Senator Aaron Reid to run against Thomas Massey. Ooh. I need to have a quick look at that and why he's doing it. I don't know why he would be doing that. There's something. Well, I do know why he's doing it because of what he said about the Jews. Will do, buddy. Anyone else having? Oh yeah, did you see that the Trump administration has banned whoever that singer was that was coming out with so much bullshit about the Jews? He's banned them from America, and they had a big tour set up over there. He went, yeah, bye bye, you ain't coming in, which I thought was hilarious. So you've got to be very careful if you're not American what you actually say. Let's have a look. How about Mel Gibson? Anyone, if you can tie it up, that's what we want to do, right? You might see me absolutely sweating out there, but just to make sure everyone's sweet. Email sent to. Oh, right. So, yeah, Man in America is the other one. That's a really great account. I like that. I like that particular program, and you can have a proper discussion with him. But again, I just want to make sure everyone's got that. So just before I do that, I'm going to send this out, copy link. I'm going to send that one out again so everyone understands it. Let's have a look and see this out. Nor mind, Taffy Pat. Graham Sausage Fingers is arranging his funeral times. Arranging his funeral times are changing. Say that again. Andy Dragon from the English Show website. Let me have a look. So keep sending it out there. Music Fan 7. I love Massey. MTG was on a Tucker talking about some of the same. Yeah, I know. Massey is and he is proper, but highly intelligent. Certainly at the same level of intelligence as President Trump. But there's issues. Right, that's it. I'm going to say to everyone, let me go back to the studio, take off the link, go back to the live chat. I'm going to say, so don't forget I'm going to go there. I don't know if there's going to be a show tomorrow night. I hope to get a show out on Wednesday night and also with 412. But my main objective out there is to concentrate and come off and just go bing and concentrate on this case. I'm taking out some of the law books with me, some other bits and pieces, and I'll be going through all that stuff. That's it. Thanks, good night, and God bless. So I just want to say God bless everyone. Don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution, and President Donald Trump believes that to be so too. Right? So everyone should understand that. So the Constitution is the solution. God bless you. I'm on my way out to Portugal tomorrow, and it is 45, which I believe is 110 degrees. I'm talking about on a boat. So, and remember, that boat is just going and just getting all the heat straight at it. It's not on the water. Thanks, everyone. Right, and if you want to. Oh yeah, don't forget the other thing as well. I'm not sure if I say to people I've got some more, right? But I ain't got a lot left, right? So again, there is the 20 milligram ivermectin, right? There they are. I've got some of them. So if you want some of them, it's £15 a strip. There, you have to email me, and you email graham.moore@protonmail.com, right? You put in the subject line, this is really important. If you don't do it, I don't respond, right? Because it proves you watch the show. You put in the subject line of the email, ivermectin, don't misspell it, because I actually search on that. Then what you do is say, I want it's a minimum of 6 strips, right? I can't remember who else. Did I send these to someone else? I was going to send some strips to someone else. I'm not sure if I've sent them. I have to check back now. If there's anyone I should have sent these to and I didn't send them to, I apologise because I've forgotten, right? If I'm correct, I might have to go and have a quick look. Right, so again, graham.moore@protonmail.com. Ivermectin in the subject line. This is a molecule, not a drug, right? It is extremely beneficial for you for various reasons, which I'm not going to go into at the moment. But put in ivermectin in the subject line. It's £15 a strip. That's it, right? It's a minimum of 6 strips, but if you want 10, even if you want 20, right? If your email comes in, I've got them here, I'll put them in the thing and just go bang and send it. And then you send the payment once they're received, right? You send, and they're sent out to you. You just send me the money to my account. That's it, right? So some more was sent out today, or yesterday, was it? I think it was yesterday. It might have been Sunday I actually sent them. So some people should have got some receipt of the ivermectin today. If they ain't got it today, they'll get it tomorrow, right? And the postage alone cost me the best part of £5, right? So let me just make sure, because I want to go and have a look at this and see if it's on there. There it is. Let me have a quick look. if anyone asks for some strips, all right, and do me a favour. I know this is a strange one to say. Try not to do it on WhatsApp because it's not the same as me doing a search on my email, right? Because then if I have to go back and look at I'm looking all over the show. That's not what I want to do. You just send it to me on that. Let me see if there's anything gone up on there. Yeah, so one person sent me some money through. Well done, Mr. Hurley. And again, I've sent some details out to everyone on that one. We've got one of our members and followers who, unfortunately, has been diagnosed with cancer, and no, he is not jabbed. He's absolutely vehemently against the jab. So a protocol has been sent to him of what he should do. And again, we'll see how it assists him, including DMSO, right? So everyone should understand that. So does everyone understand what I've just sent out? I've put the information out there. That's what you need to do. Don't forget also, put that information out there, and I will try and send it as quickly as I can. If you send it to me tonight, I will put it in the post tonight, right? And then that helps me out a little bit when I'm out in Portugal, right? Just to make sure you're clear of that. That's it. Love you all. Good night. God bless. And I will hopefully see you Wednesday night. All right. Tomorrow night I'm traveling. I'm going to be in there, right? But just make sure you all share the show and do what we've got to do to get it out there. That's it. Merci beaucoup and all that. You love it when I speak French, don't you? Right. Bye-bye.